stand at Kanyakumari, the southernmost tip of India. Past this point, there is no land, just an endless stretch of ocean spanning to Antarctica. But if you ask someone deeply rooted in Tamil culture what lies beneath those waves, they won't tell you it's empty space. They will tell you an entire history is sleeping in the depths, the cradle of the world's first spoken language and a sprawling, ancient metropolis. This belief stems from ancient Synthem literature. 2,000-year-old texts like the Silapatikaram describe a landmass swallowed by a furious sea. They record the names of specific places, the mighty Paruli River and the sweeping Kumari mountain ranges, all wiped off the map by violent waves. The texts describe the survivors of this flood fleeing north into the mainland. There, to preserve their vanishing culture, they established great academies, the Tamil Sangams, to safeguard their language and knowledge. These accounts capture the panicked perspective of a displaced people desperately trying to preserve their history after a disaster. The problem arises when later commentators tried to measure this lost land. By the 12th century, scholars claimed the sunken territory spanned 700 kavatham. Converted to modern metrics, that is an area roughly 11,000 kilometers wide, a distance stretching past Australia. That scale defies the laws of physics. Because of that singular, massive exaggeration, the modern scientific community easily dismissed the entire story of Kumari Kanda as fiction. We have an ancient story built on an impossible dimension. Does that mean the texts are fabricated, or is there a verifiable scientific truth buried underneath the exaggeration? In the 19th century, an English zoologist named Philip Sclater stumbled onto a biological puzzle. He found identical lemur fossils in Madagascar and India, but absolutely none in the landmass sitting between them, mainland Africa. Since lemurs couldn't swim across the Indian Ocean, Sclater needed an explanation. Working before the discovery of plate tectonics, Sclater proposed that a massive, now sunken land bridge once connected the two regions. He named this hypothetical continent Lemuria. When Tamil scholars heard this, they adopted it as Western scientific proof of their lost Kumari Kanda. This chart maps out the geographic home ranges of selected prehistoric species within Gondwana. By the mid-20th century, modern plate tectonics proved that continents drift apart rather than sinking into the ocean. India, Africa, and Madagascar were indeed once joined in a single massive landmass, but they separated roughly 160 million years ago during the reign of the dinosaurs. The human species didn't even exist yet. The timeline makes a lost tectonic continent inhabited by ancient human kings mathematically impossible. If a civilization was swallowed by the sea, we have to look for a different mechanism of destruction. Let's fast forward from deep geological time to recent human history, 20,000 years ago. Earth is deep into the last glacial maximum. Because incomprehensible volumes of the planet's water were frozen solid at the poles, global sea levels plummeted. The oceans were approximately 400 feet lower than they are today. That is a vertical drop equivalent to a 40-story building. Drain the water by 400 feet, and the map of South India dramatically changes. Sri Lanka is no longer an island. It is seamlessly connected to the mainland. The Tamil coastline pushes outward, exposing thousands of square kilometers of habitable plains and river valleys. But starting 18,000 years ago, the planet warmed. The ice sheets began melting, triggering sudden events known as meltwater pulses. Over 3 distinct periods, unimaginable volumes of water dumped into the oceans, causing sea levels to rapidly surge inland. The ancient Tamils witnessed a rapidly drowning coastline caused by apocalyptic climate change. We know people lived there because we are finding their remains. Just off the coast of Pumpuhar, India's National Institute of Oceanography has documented massive artificial U-shaped stone structures resting 5 kilometers out into the current ocean. Even more definitively, divers have located stone-lined fresh water wells sitting 23 meters deep on the ocean floor. There is absolutely zero reason to build a freshwater well in the middle of a saltwater ocean, unless that ocean floor used to be dry, inhabited land. This physical evidence aligns perfectly with human genetics. When the earliest modern humans migrated out of Africa, they followed a specific coastal route into Asia. The very first Indians settled and lived on that exact landmass before it was submerged. The physical reality of Kumari Kanda was a thriving coastal homeland steadily devoured by the thawing of the Ice Age. The massive exaggerations in Sangam texts reflect the generational trauma of a civilization that watched the ocean consume their world over centuries. The survival of this story proves that collective memory can keep a civilization's history alive, even when the land itself is gone.